Alright, so here's my latest project, a little tinkering. All these wet wheel grinders, been trying to find the best way to get the most out of it, different tool sizes. The clamp that they come with works pretty well. Like all clamping systems, it has issues with different blade geometries, sometimes difficult to get a symmetrical presentation coming straight out of the clamp. And for thin bladed tools it doesn't work at all, because you wind up hitting the clamp on the wheel. They make a unit for dealing with that, but it's also kind of slow, a little clumsy. So I thought, well, maybe I can do one better, come up with something that's quick and will work on all different types of edge tools that have handles, as opposed to the woodworking tools. The jigs that it comes with for woodworking tools really can't be improved on a whole lot. They work very well. So I came up with a tube like this. I've got some shallow crenellations on the one end that will lock into basically a tourniquet handle here. And I've got some shaped crenellations on the top that will lock in various handle profiles. The material I have found that works best for a tourniquet, and because we had a whole bunch of these lying around the shop for equipment we no longer use, these little tool belts. They're really tough, don't have a lot of elasticity, but just a little bit. Basically just send it down the tube. You could probably use natural fiber rope. Some marine line has very little give to it. I don't think you could use like a steel cable. You have to have a little bit of elasticity. I put a little piece of rubber across the bottom here just to give it something to squeeze into. It actually works pretty well without it, but it works that little bit better with it. So I'm going to send this guy through, and the end of my tourniquet lever is pointed so I can use it to dig this belt out. This is a proof of concept. I could probably come up with a better one that had a mating surface halfway down that would ratchet and lock. You just twist the tube. But just to get up and running, this worked pretty good. So basically you just squeeze it, stick your tourniquet through here, and start rolling. Once it starts to catch, just take a look, make sure it's reasonably symmetrical in the tube, and then go. And this thing really gets very strong grab on it, and you can let off a little bit if you're doing like a folding knife. You don't want to beat into it too bad. Now I've got a little wooden cuff here I made. You can make this out of anything. You could actually make this tube a little bit smaller, but the farther apart the contact surfaces are, the better the bite. So I originally started out with a thin tube. It was a little unwieldy, and it didn't really get the best grab on bigger tools. Because now with this setup, I can avoid this clamp altogether if I want, and just make a longer bar. That's the only other downside to it, since you're not clamping it in the middle of the blade and your contact point is way out to one side. You need a longer bar for a lot of tools. But in terms of just using it for thin bladed tools, one of the coolest things about this is that it is pretty versatile. I mean, with a long enough bar, you can put any tool you want on here, from a machete down to a small knife. You don't have to futz around with a clamp. If you've got a really thin bladed knife, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what the blade profile is. And because this sleeve here is fully adjustable and the bar is, you have a lot more options in terms of moving it around. And the other thing that I like to do sometimes, I put a stop on in front of this so it floats in between two stops, and you can actually do a convex edge with a great deal of accuracy. You just line up your terminal angle to the second stop, and then you float in between them as you move across. Yeah, it works pretty good. But this was super easy to whip up. The only hard part really was cutting out the circle and sanding it down. to fit. Everything else you can do in seconds, and if you had a bunch of oddball profiles, you do a lot of skeletonized handles or something, you could even make like a slot in your water pipe. Food for thought. Thanks for watching.